Okay, welcome everyone. I am so excited to have my sponsor, Charlotte Siems, here today to share with us. I mean, you just don't know how blessed I am to have her be my sponsor. She is so wise, and I've learned so much from her. And she's a great encourager, but she doesn't just let you, wallow in discouragement or self-pity. She speaks the truth, and she gives you that what do you call it? Tough love, I guess. It keeps you going, doing what you need to do, getting your mindset right. So I've learned so much from Charlotte, and I've just asked her to come and share some tips with us today and some encouragement, inspire us. I know many of us are still working hard to get to Leaders Retreat and to get some of the double rank ups for this month too. So Charlotte, I'll just let you share whatever's on your heart today.
Okay. Well, August is a pretty special month because of the double bonus for ranking silver or gold, and then also the re-rank bonus for gold, which is really exciting for someone who has gone gone backwards some, that it's possible for them to rank back up and get that bonus again. I do know that, that what is today, the 15th, so we're halfway through the month. It's my oldest daughter's birthday, so this is the day I became a mother 35 years ago. And but halfway through August, sometimes when we get halfway through the month, we start thinking, well, what's the point? I didn't make my goal or whatever. And it's easy just to give up. But I want to tell you, don't give up, because you don't know what's right around the corner. You don't know who's going to join next week. You don't know what's going to happen on your team. Now, if you are, working for a gold re-rank or ranking up to gold especially, then I loved what we shared in Team Fire from, Diamond Brooke Hemingway on Saturday, where she talks about, instead of looking back at your white lines and getting them to order, to help you re-rank, but instead look ahead. And the green lines in your back office, the people who just joined, are excited and they're ready to try new products. You don't know about their financial situation or what their health is. When I joined Plexus, I started with Slim, and then I think a week later I ordered ProBio BioCleanse, and then like another week later I ordered a welcome pack with all like the $200, every product there was just about back then, because I was excited and wanted to try all the products. And so how many times do we get a new person on our team and we prejudge them and we think, oh, well, they just bought a welcome pack, they're not going to want to spend any more. How do you know? And so many times it's just because someone needs to advise them. Someone just needs to tell them, you know what, you're going to want to try this and this and this. And the best time for that conversation to take place is before they order the welcome pack, because you can tell them, order a welcome pack and ease for inflammation. We posted a list of all the combos that would be 100 PV over their welcome pack, so that you can use those to kind of, I don't want to say diagnose, because we're not medical professionals, nor do we play one on TV, so we don't diagnose disease, but we make suggestions based on our knowledge, and that's what you are, as an advisor to people. But nobody wants an advisor who is timid and kind of, well, I know you probably won't want to spend this and stuff. They don't want to hear that. They just want you to tell them what to do. And then even if they back up and say, well, I can only get the triplex, fine. But you don't know, 2 weeks from now, they might go, you know what, I'm going to try the other stuff she said. But we planted that seed, and we didn't do it timidly. And we didn't do it to make money. We are not suggesting all these different products to make money. We're suggesting the products to change their lives. I am so grateful. Like, I am off of all my prescription pain medications and stuff, and there's still plenty of pain, but I'm so grateful that I have ease, that I don't have to take Tylenol. I probably still could, but I'm so grateful that I have body cream for my face instead of the face cream that I used to sell, and body cream works better. Just all the other products that we have that most people, I'm guessing the majority of people never try the rest of our products outside of the triplex or outside of Slim. The triplex is definitely the best place for most people to start. Most people get the best results with the triplex. That's what I tell people. Most people get the best results with the triplex. But we always stop there. We just think, okay, good, we got them to order a triplex. And then we don't think, but wait a minute, did you know about our natural pain relief line? And did you know that we have this and that? we have a plant-based omega. And so many people nowadays are spending a lot of money on supplements. And so why don't we advise them and let them order them all from one place, from Plexus, and have higher quality stuff? So, but what this all starts with, though, is your posture. It starts with your confidence. It starts with where you're coming from. People can feel you. They feel your energy. Even if you think they can't, they can. Even if you think you can post all this great stuff on Facebook, but you're a negative person, they're going to still feel it. It's a spiritual principle, I assume, because I don't know how it works, but it does. So we really can't fool people, which is why we want to work on ourselves more than anything else in our business. And so I watched a great video this week from one of the world's highest paid copywriters, and he was talking about how to have unstoppable confidence. And the first suggestion that he had was to be grateful. And I thought that is so interesting, because he talked about being grateful, thinking of things in your life that you're so grateful for. And he said your confidence will rise. And if you think about it, when we are not grateful, when we are basically, let's call it like it is, when we're ungrateful and we're saying, well, my business hasn't grown and I haven't ranked up yet and I don't have any rock stars and my team isn't doing anything, that is not gratitude. That is griping and it is complaining, and it's self-focus. And I can say it because I've said some of those things, or I've griped, or I've thought things didn't move fast enough, or things like that. So that's, I don't say I'm not on this lofty pedestal here, but I can tell you gratitude changed my business. And gratitude will change your confidence, because when you're grateful, it just does something for you when you realize how many things you do have in your life that are good. And so then you move out from there in a place of confidence. Be grateful for Plexus. If you start counting all the ways, my Zoom disappeared there. Okay. When you start thinking about all the ways these products have changed your life, that gives you confidence, because you're being grateful and you're thinking of how it can change other people's lives. It's when we turn inward and we're so worried about what people are going to think is when we stop sharing, or we don't want to bug people. That is such a huge thing about follow-up. People don't want to bug people. That is a mindset issue, and that reveals your heart and your beliefs about yourself and your business and Plexus, because you're thinking that what I have is not of enough value to tell people. Now, I am not telling you to suddenly become a pushy, salesy person who follows people around. That's not what I'm talking about here. But I think about how many times I have ordered, let's say, Mary Kay makeup. I have a Mary Kay lady, and she has followed up with me. And I've appreciated it that she offered me something else. She said, look, we got these new lip glosses in. You'd look so good in this one. So you know what? I ordered it. And that was not on my radar. I didn't get up that morning and say, I'm going to order some Mary Kay lip gloss today. But because she followed up in an excited way, who believed in her products, then I bought it. And I was glad to do it. I didn't go, oh, I wish she would leave me alone. Because I'm sure there are Mary Kay ladies out there that you think that about them. But this lady has always, I met her in a restaurant. Okay, this is a lesson here. I was standing in line waiting to be seated at a Mexican restaurant, and I told this lady in front of me, I love your blush, because it was a real shimmery, really pretty on her. And she was a lady, probably a little bit older than me, maybe about my age. And she turned around with a Mary Kay t-shirt, and she said, well, I can get some for you. And so I think she either got my card or my number, and she followed up. She got in touch with me. We had a coffee date. Now we're friends. I mean, because I've seen her several times, and we've met, different times. We're friends on Facebook. But she followed up with me. She didn't just give me her card and hoped I would call her someday. She made an appointment with me, and she was nice. And so I thought, okay. And that wouldn't have happened. And it wasn't. And the following up was kinder to me, because it was convenient for me, because I didn't have to go find her card and figure out where she was and all that. And I bought quite a bit of makeup from her over, the past, I don't know, I guess I've known her about a year and a half now. And so, but it's because of the way our relationship has unfolded that she always approaches it as, you would look good in this, and this would be so great for you. And then there's been a couple of times when she's told me about some new product, and she said, and if I sell 10 of them this weekend, I get this rank, or I have this promotion thing. And you know what? I think the one time she told me that, I didn't order, but I should have, just to help her out, because I would have been okay with it. But so many times we're just afraid to tell people. Well, we don't know. For all we know, they have $12,000 room on their credit card, and so it's no big deal for them to order $100 worth of Plexus. We're judging them. And then, so if we're hesitating because we think they can't afford it, then for one thing, we're prejudging, and we're kind of being nosy, thinking we know about their finances. And we are also have this thing in our mind. We in our own mind think it's too expensive. And so we are projecting that on somebody else. They're plain and simple. There's no other explanation for it. There are people that can afford Plexus that you wouldn't think. I don't think there are very many people in the United States of America that are had a tighter budget than my family. I mean, I'm serious as a heart attack here, because I knew the financial situations of some people in our church who got lots of aid and, things given to them and stuff. And we had less disposable income than they did, as far as we're talking to go buy groceries. And so, but we found ways to afford things that we needed or wanted. And so someone might look at us and think, well, they're too poor to do this thing. Well, if it was important, we worked it out and we found a way, and the Lord provided. If you have somebody that truly cannot afford Plexus, then God has some other way for them to get help for their health issues, and they are not your ideal customer. They are not your ideal client, and there's no reason for you to feel guilty or try to chase them down or give them free product, because most of the time when you give free stuff to people, they don't appreciate it anyway. They've got to have some skin in the game. And so go look for people that can afford it. I mean, because I promise you, God has other ways to help people for their health if they really can't afford Plexus. But I also hesitate. Same thing with the judging. Someone says they can't afford Plexus, but they're talking on their iPhone and they're in the Starbucks drive-thru, but they can't afford Plexus. Sorry, don't buy it. So that's not the real objection. I know that Lori Harrison did a training on this a couple years ago about, it's usually about the third thing. It's not, the first thing they say is their objection is not really usually it. So if they say, gee, that's expensive, that's not really the issue. They're kind of testing the waters, to see how you respond and stuff. So don't go into it first thing thinking, well, you probably can't afford this, or I know this is expensive, but it's really good. Oh, please don't say that, because you are putting that in their mind that this is too expensive. And so they're going to say, oh, that's too expensive. So, I get price objections very rarely. I don't know how many times I have. If someone tells me it's expensive, I laugh because it makes me laugh, because I think, girl, I was going to go to the pharmacy every month for the rest of my life and fill 2 thyroid prescriptions every month for the rest of my life. And I didn't bat an eyelash because the doctor said I needed this. Oh, and I tell them I would much rather take natural plant extracts the rest of my life. And I'm saving money and I'm saving my health with Plexus. And so when you answer in that way, which is very confident, then they're kind of like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. So anyway, I'm just rambling here. I am going on and on. I'm just saying stuff. So I really want to meet your needs for anyone. If anyone has any questions or where they are in their business right now, then I'd love to help you with that. So if anybody wants to ask a question or something, feel free. Do we have anybody here right now that is going for silver or gold this month? Brenda is muted, so I can't hear what she's saying. Can you unmute her, Elizabeth?
I got it.
Can you hear me? But I have realized, and
we didn't hear anything you said, Brenda.
Oh,
You were
I
muted.
said I started out this month that I was going to try to go gold, but I've realized that my thought process is not very positive, which is funny because I used to teach cognitive therapy. I was a therapist for 12 years on the psych ward. But I think I've gotten in that middle of the road too, where it's not looking good. So can you talk even more about how to stay positive up to the end and not give up and not get into, okay, well, maybe I'll just push it off to next month. And then I also liked the idea of not prejudging their finances, because I think sometimes it does get easy to go, oh, it might be expensive, as opposed to thinking, like you said, it's cheaper and better in the long run.
Yes, and my Mary Kay lady, she's never assumed I couldn't afford it, and she has never said, you may not be able, this may not work for your budget this month, but would you consider, if she'd have asked me in that way, I'd have gone, no. But she approached me confidently with something that she felt was of value to me. And so I was like, well, okay. So it's totally different. And it's how you approach people. And as far as, setting a goal and then getting halfway through the month and thinking maybe it's not going to happen, number one, I will say, is that your rank and your points are not your identity. And so I don't know what it is about network marketing and just Plexus, but, in the rest of our life, we're a rock star. We're a mom, and you were a therapist, and you do all this stuff that's great stuff in your life, but you join Plexus and you're become an ambassador and you're a chopped liver. Nothing's changed. That's not your identity, your points or your rank. And that comparison gets us out of gratitude. That's a huge, huge thing. And so we just have to be so careful to discipline ourselves to look away. If there is somebody on Facebook that every time, and they're an ambassador, and every time they post how excited they are and they're going to Leaders Retreat and all that, if it makes you go, and I'm the pits, then unfollow them. You don't have to unfriend them, but don't read their stuff. Because if that's a tender place in your heart right now, then don't set yourself up for negative energy every day when you read that in your news feed and immediately go into comparison and how rotten you are, because it's not true. And everybody's story is different. But you also have to just guard your thoughts. And I talked about this a little bit last night on a call I did about affirmations. And we all know that we should do affirmations. Helen and Sonia did a class on this, with the What to Say When You Talk to Yourself book. And they said, people think this is great and all that, but the problem is most people don't stick with it. They might do it for 2 weeks to 3 weeks, and then they never do it again. That's where the problem runs in. Another thing is maybe your affirmations are not doing you any good because either they're too long, or you have too many of them, or the way you've worded them brings up negative energy. So let me explain that. The too long kind of goes with the way you've worded them. I talked to somebody a couple days ago who was discouraged about their business. And I asked, what's your affirmation about? It was someone who was worried about bugging people when they followed up. So I asked, what's your affirmation for that? And she said, I can't remember the wording exactly, but it was, I follow up with people, or I talk to people about Plexus boldly and with clarity. And I said, well, how does that make you feel when you say that? And she said, kind of scared. And I thought, you should never, never do an affirmation that brings up negative energy, negative emotions, because emotions are huge. And this sounds really weird, but it's just how it works. It's just how God has created the world and everything that's around it. But your affirmation should bring up positive emotions. So it should be stuff like, I can hardly wait to talk to people. I am so excited about sharing Plexus. I basically just said the same thing as that very prim and proper affirmation of I share Plexus boldly and with clarity. That makes me sound like an office robot or something. But I can't even wait to share. That makes you feel excited and happy, and it makes your confidence rise. And so I would rather you had 3 affirmations that brought up positive emotions than a list of 20 that you just read like a robot through because you're just trying to get through them every day and now the next one and all that stuff. I've known people who have like lots of affirmations they go through every day, and that's just not my strength. I think it's a follow-up, low and follow-up on the Colby scale or whatever. I would avoid that really quick, because it's just something to do. It wouldn't speak to my heart. And so as far as the things you say to yourself, number one, definitely scripture is good, but I don't think that your affirmations have to be completely scripture. One of my big scriptures for this month is, God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. So whenever you start fearing that you can't meet your goal this month because, you'll be embarrassed, or what if you're disappointed and all that stuff, God didn't give that to you. He has given you power and love and a sound mind. And those three things will about cover your business there. So power to be confident, loving people, and a sound mind where your thoughts and emotions are not all over the place, but you have a sound mind. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. So if we only set goals for the month that are very doable and they fit the spreadsheet and you can add up the points and it all works out, that doesn't take any faith. Ask Elizabeth, who went Senior Ruby last month. It took some faith to get to Senior Ruby. So she didn't get up every morning and check her points and think, I got this, no problem. There's some, in there, because you don't know how it's going to turn out. But without faith, it is impossible to please God, because if we only do things that we know we can do, then what do we need God for, Mm-hmm. And so I think it would be silly to say, I'm going to go diamond this month if you're a silver. That's just totally unrealistic. but so I'm not saying set goals that are so huge, it takes so much faith. That's not what I'm talking about. Because you'll just self-sabotage, because that's so huge, you can't do it. So your brain will feel that disconnect and it'll make sure it doesn't happen. But I would just advise you to push yourself some. If, this is one thing, you've got to look at the numbers in your back office. So if you're running for gold and you only have 3 active ambassadors, the numbers there really is no way. As far as, if you have 3 active ambassadors and 10 people who quit, that doesn't add up. That's not enough for gold. Am I making sense? Mm-hmm. You have to look at the numbers. I am not a numbers person. I don't like numbers that much. And so, but I've learned that numbers remove fear, and they also remove setting a goal I'm not saying God couldn't do it, but, it's like putting your head in the sand to say, I'm going to reach this just by doing my affirmations. And when in your back office, there's nobody there. That's, that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But if you're, if gold, you look at the numbers and there really is not a way, it's one thing to push for 8 more people this month or something. That's scary, but that's also within the realm of possible. But, you have to then just change the date. Don't change the goal. I think I might have it right here. Oh, I do. I have this little book that I found. I was looking for I'm knocking water bottles over. I was going out of town and I wanted to put a little paper in my travel purse, because sometimes on a plane I'll think of something and I want to write something down. Well, I found this one and I realized it was full already. And so I was just kind of flipping through it, and I had taken notes, and it was just very interesting to go through here. But I want to read you what I wrote in this notebook when I found it. Hang on, see if I can find the page. Because, this book is pretty full. Sorry, should have had my finger in it before we started. Oh, okay, here it is. Here's what I wrote in this little book. Be a Diamond Ambassador by Convention, June 2015. Okay, guys, did I reach that goal? No. But did I quit? No, I just changed the date. I'm still working for that goal. And so I just moved it back, and I'm still going. I'm going to do it this month, 2 years later, And so, gosh, I'm sorry. I can't stand it when there's stuff knocked down around my foot. Okay, there we go. Anyway, you just changed the date, and it didn't make me any less of a person. My family loves me just as much. I have a great life, and so don't let that sometimes, we self-sabotage about a rank because deep down, we think we don't deserve it. We're not worthy of a rank. And so we deep down think we're not really gold material or ruby material. And so we self-sabotage until we can get that belief straightened out and the truth and our identity in Christ, where we're not wrapped up in, and there's all different forms that can take. Sometimes it can be that, once I am gold, I'll be somebody. That's not true either. You have to already have your identity strong. And that's why this business is so awesome, because it is personal growth with a paycheck. God uses our business to reveal things in our hearts and our beliefs about ourselves. And then he's able to bring it to light and work on it with us that we never would have had to face if we weren't trying to go gold or trying to go ruby or diamond. And so that is one thing that I just love about this business that I don't know that people can really understand until they're in it and doing it. And so I love how God uses ranks as bait to do his work on us, because he created us. If you want to rank up, you have a drive in you that God created you with. And he's glad that I heard someone say the other day, God loves it when we set big goals, because then we're going to have to work on ourselves and we're going to have to rely on him. And what a great place to be, where you're humble and you're saying, God, show me. And you're willing to do what it takes and all those things and believe him and stuff. So it's just best business in the world, because you also get to see your team reach their goals. And it is just as exciting for me when Elizabeth went Senior Ruby as it was when I went Senior Ruby. And so you get to experience it over and over again. I think I cry more when my team ranks up than I did when I ranked up. I think my overwhelming emotion for a rank up is relief, okay, good, finally. But when my team ranks up, that right there is enough reason to keep going in your business for the people that you're going to help change their lives. Because I can look back and think about when Elizabeth joined, and it was to help with a septic system in regard. And I think she was a little hesitant about the products. I don't know about this. And then just to see where things have come in that, more than 3 years ago, to see her as in one of the top ranks of the company and on her way to Emerald, because that's her next rank. And so anyway, okay, I think I've rambled on long enough. It's happening. Okay, so I don't know if I went around and helped.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
So so back to the thing about if people think it's expensive. So if somebody does say, oh, what's the cost or what's expensive? And I know the whole idea that we're talking about believing of the value, but can you give me any words that you use when you respond? Do you say it's like equivalent to the Starbucks, or do you just give them the price outright and don't put anything in, or do you try to put in your health is worth it? Like, can you give me some words that you use? Like if I'm talking to somebody, which I am now, and I know they've just started a business and there's things going on, and she's alluded to money's tight, and she says, okay, and I'm trying to get her on this 7-day challenge, and she's like, okay, what does it cost? Like, what would you say? Like, can you give me ideas of some of your wording?
Well, I haven't had to answer this in a while because of my surgeries. I haven't been getting a lot of new customers and that kind of thing. But when I have been in that season of my business, which I will get back to soon, I usually would send them a graphic with the price on it because it's prettier. And we have beautiful graphics now. You can make your own, or you can just take a picture of that page on the catalog. However, you can make a beautiful graphic, because I think that takes some of the hard numbers out of it, and it speaks more to the heart, because you want to keep them out of their head. You want to keep them in emotion, even about the cost. So you don't want them to start analyzing and that kind of stuff. They talk about the 4 personalities and all that stuff, and greens who really want to know all the details and that kind of stuff. Well, that's probably less than a fourth of the people you'll talk to. So when someone asks how much it costs, you don't have to give them every price of everything in the catalog or something. I usually just use the triplex as the example because it's pretty clear how much you save by becoming an ambassador on that one. But I don't ever, seldom ever send them a written list of the prices. I send a pretty graphic.
Okay.
That's just a little less intimidating. And unapologetically send them the graphic,
Okay. Thanks.
Because that's a good tool for me, I feel like.
Yeah,
and
I like
so many times people ask us questions and we tell them way more than they actually really wanted to know.
that.
There is in the files, I don't know if it's in the files of Team Fire. If you can't find it, let me know and I'll post it in the files. From Lori Harrison from a long time ago, when it was wording for when people ask you questions. And like people would ask her, what's this plexus? She would say, it's a pink drink that tastes like Kool-Aid. Why? Do you have some health issues? That's how she would answer them. Instead of, it has Garcinia cambogia and it has this 8 vitamins and multi whatever. People don't care about that stuff. And you know what? If I have someone who wants to know about all the ingredients and the whatever, you know what I do? I say, you can Google the ingredients. That's what I tell them. I don't go do the research for them because I am not trying to talk anybody into anything. I am not trying to convince anybody of anything. Sometimes it's very effective to take it away from them, even about costs, and say, well, this may not be for you. And when you take it away, that can be, no, that's not what I meant. I'm just checking into something. Sometimes when you act like, because then they can tell you're not desperate and you don't need their business. And that's actually attractive for them to think that you're like, okay, I don't care. I'll go find somebody else. That's much better than someone who feels like they have to chase after every person and tell them every detail and all that stuff because they're so desperate to sell them something. People feel that, and it is a turnoff. Needy is creepy. Write that on a Post-it note. Needy is creepy for your business. So,
Okay. Cool.
Okay, one more. Anybody else have another question? Because I really don't want to keep y'all long.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. Hi, Charlotte.
Hi, Lori.
I have a question. It's kind of a broader question, and I just want to hear you say this out loud, that we can do this, that this is doable. Because I think, I can read numbers. I look at the numbers on the rank ups. I know what I want. I know what my family needs. I've been, as you were saying earlier, successful in other realms. I've been a leader in other realms. I'm actually walking away from some of that, shutting it down slowly so I can give more full time to Plexus. I've made some big decisions to weed out things that are good things, but don't look as nearly have the opportunity for profit and gain. And, but I'm just being honest. There's this little part of me, no matter how much affirmation and belief I do, that I know one thing holding me back is that I'm not doing it as if that's going to be my reality. It's like big, big hope. But if I got up in the morning and I knew that if I did this, I was going to reap this, there's that gap between where we are and where we want to be. And so I just like to hear people keep saying to me, oh, you can do this. You can do it.
Well, it sounds like you've taken the boat out to the island of I'm going to do this Plexus thing, but you still got your boat tied up to the dock just in case. And I'm not saying to be foolish and, your whole family's going to just, depend on your Plexus income or that kind of thing. But there comes a time when you burn the boat and you have that final, draw your line in the sand and I am going to do this kind of thing. The fear never goes away. As far as, I'm speaking faith that I'm going to be diamond this month. And if I hit diamond, when I hit diamond this month, then I'm still going to have fears next month. I promise you. So if you're waiting for that to go away, it's not happening. But this business, okay, Plexus, I have heard this from more than one person that the next 3 years are going to be the biggest years for Plexus ever. And maybe their best 3 years. I'm not saying it's going to go downhill after that at all, but just that this is the right place at the right time kind of thing because of the timing, which with these new products and the new back office and all these things that will be coming very soon. I know that I've heard rumors of a big announcement at Leaders Retreat, and there's some stuff coming next year that I've just heard from company leaders say, just wait until you see what's coming. And so as far as, definitely in the right place at the right time. I think we get spoiled in Plexus kind of because we see some of these people who ranked up to diamond in 4 months or whatever, And so we compare ourselves to that. I love what Helen McFadden said about as Plexus ages, the company, as it ages, we're going to hear more about the 5-year journey to Emerald and the 8-year journey to Emerald, which is more normal. It's more doable. It's more reachable. And, to give you an idea how young this company is, my name is on a brick at headquarters as one of the founding leaders of the company. Really? I thought I got in several years after, all the big whatever. And so you are still in this so early. And there are such great, and we all know we went through a lot in the year and a half, with the back office and the shipping and the credit card, all that stuff definitely has been a challenge. But that stuff, we're leaving all that behind us. And so I don't think we can ever expect to not have fears. And that's when we take ourselves in hand about what we allow ourselves to think. But you can absolutely do this. And I'm looking at people on this call right now that have been here a while. You're not going anywhere. None of you are getting ready to quit Plexus. You know this is good. And so have you ever heard the statistic that out of people who stay in a network marketing company for 10 years, that it's like at least 90% of those people are at the top ranks of the company, top rank of the company at the end of that 10 years. And that's because the people that stay around, they keep doing the personal growth, they keep going to events, they keep learning, they keep changing, and they just stay in, that they are the people who make it to the top of the company. And so it is everybody's journey is different. And so we have to be so careful not to compare. But I know, I can look you in the eyes. I guess I'll look at the screen and to say, yes, you can do this. I have full faith in all of you that you can be a jewel. And I don't know when that will happen, but it sure can. It just has to be you willing to do the work and work on yourself. I think people sense when we're not quite all in, when we still have one toe out of the water. I did a video in Maui the first year I was there, and it was about, because I grew up in Kansas, I haven't been to the beach that many times in my life, and I found that when I only went knee deep out in the waves, they would knock me over. And that's crazy, but it's just the wave that was so strong. When you were about right above your knees, those waves would knock your feet out from under you. But when you got out about chest deep, you could just ride the wave. It was way gentler and easier. And that's kind of like Plexus. It's really hard, I think, more when we're just, I'm in this, but whatever. But when you go all in, something shifts and people feel that in you. There's a difference in the confidence and in how you present yourself. And so, that could be something else just to think about, to make sure that you're, choosing. And I'm not saying, you guys, you know what? You don't have to be diamond, and you don't even have to be emerald. If that's not your dream, don't let someone else make you feel like you're a failure if you don't do that. So you have to choose. And you know what? You get to choose what kind of emerald and sapphire and diamond you are. Just because you're emerald or sapphire or diamond doesn't mean you need to travel the country speaking. It doesn't mean that you need to be traveling around doing events. It doesn't mean you need to do Zooms. There are diamonds that I have never heard of because they have chosen that's how they want to be a diamond. And I know Elizabeth the other day said something about, the customer service, because I told her I'd been on hold for a long time or something. And she said, that's one thing I'm dreading. And I don't know if I made it clear to her, but you know what? That's not a bad thing about this. I still do this part-time. This is not, from the moment I wake up until I go to bed at night kind of job kind of thing. I do work hard and I work a lot, but I have freedom, so don't let deception about what you think it means to succeed in Plexus, don't let that hold you back. Because if you think that to be a jewel, you have to wear mini skirts and high heels at convention, and if you think, well, I don't fit that mold, so I can never do that, you'll self-sabotage. But thank goodness for jewels like me who are 57, who will wear flats and long skirts. I mean, it's and eventually Plexus will be full of older jewels, middle-aged and older jewels, because they just happen to be a lot of the young and the beautiful, which there's going to be the middle-aged and the beautiful, and so, it's just so many things about things. And then because we think it's a certain thing, we block ourselves from getting there. Does that make sense? So you go ahead and decide, because I tell people my business model is not to travel around doing events. I don't want to deliver product all over town. I don't want to do events all the time. So that's not my business model. That's what I've chosen. And maybe I'd already be diamond if I'd have done that stuff, but I wasn't willing to give up and do the sacrifices it would have cost my family. And so you get to pick what kind of business you want. But if someone says they want to be, an emerald, but they're only working 2 days a week, your brain feels that disconnect. And that's where a lot of you're fooling yourself. That's not going to happen, so we have to be clear. We have to be clear where we're going, clear what we really want. What do we want our life to look like? And then you go about it. And I feel like in some ways, probably it's taken me longer to get to diamond, which is fine. 3.5 years, I'm good. But it's because I made choices very consciously about what I would and would not do. I refuse to have a business of striving. I want a business with an anointing of ease from God. I want a business that I love and is fun and is anointed by the Holy Spirit. I don't want a business that is full of striving and hard and working all the time and throwing my family under the bus so I can succeed. And so if someone thinks that's what it takes to become a jewel, and believe me, there are jewels that is what it has taken them to get there, because I've seen them and talked to them. If that's what you think it means, then you'll make sure you don't get there, because you don't want that. So hope that makes sense. You have to. I once had a coach, because my big goal was to make 6 figures in my business years ago. That was like a forever dream that I never thought would happen. And he asked me, why and all that stuff. And he said, you're not mean enough to do that out of revenge or to show everybody that you're not the poor people of the family or whatever. He said, you're not mean enough. He said, if that's why you want to make 6 figures is to show everybody, you really are whatever. He said, you'll never do it. He said, you'll self-sabotage because that's not who you are in your heart. And that was really helpful to me, because then I had to shift it to, why do I want this thing? And it was for financial freedom for my family and to meet the needs of my family, to give and do all those things. With that kind of goal, I can do this. I want to be a diamond who talks to everybody. I want to be the Sonia Dudleys and the Jennifer Leiths who are friendly to everybody, because everybody's people. They're all persons. Doesn't matter what rank they are. But if I thought being diamond meant I had to be somebody who's cliquey and their high heels and all that stuff, which is fine for them. That's fine for them. But if I thought that's what I had to be, then I would deep down not want to do it, because I wouldn't want to become that. So part of it is getting very clear what that success is going to mean for you and your family. And then that's how you build it. And that is the life that you have. So anyway, I'm still homeschooling. We start Monday, and we just completely rearranged our living room and put a new desk in there, because my 2 youngest girls, I've decided this year they're going to do school at that desk right there where my eyeballs can see them. And I'm going to be in that room with them until lunch every day. And then I'll go do my business. And so I am not going to allow my business to take over and like, oh gosh, I got a Zoom at 10 o'clock in the morning. No, I'm not going to have any Zooms at 10 because I homeschool. Do you see what I'm saying? You put in the boundaries and you create the life you want. And it's still entirely possible to get to diamond doing that, because exactly what I've done. And I have no regrets. I don't regret throwing my family under the bus to do this business. My husband went to jewel training, and because he's Emerald, and so he went to a different one that I did, and he commented on how, you know, they talked about this at jewel training about balance with your family and stuff, and he just said, you know, that there were some of the younger ones who had thrown everything to do this, you know, and you know, I guess maybe I'm so old. I'm too tired to do all that stuff. And I know how fast it goes. And I have only 3 girls left at home, and I want to enjoy every minute with them. And so my business will be what I want it to be. And if it takes longer to get to whatever rank, then that's fine. Although I will tell you this, it is easier to go fast in this business than it is to go slow. Because if you quit recruiting, I'm sorry, I'm going so long. If you stop recruiting and go really slow, by the time you get these people going, then a bunch of more quit because 6 months passed. Whereas if you'd have kept adding and adding and adding, that gets that momentum going where you're adding faster than people are quitting, because it is so normal for people to quit. So that's why it's easier to go fast. But man, you need to be, that's your number one thing, is recruiting. Recruiting is your number one activity to build your business and to rank up, is to get new people. And you have to have customers too, don't get me wrong. You need customers and ambassadors. But as somebody who's recruited a ton of people, 3.5 years later, it is serving me well, because my husband and I have a very stable business that it is in momentum, because we've built very wide. Actually, he hasn't done that wide. He has 12 level 1s and he's Emerald.
Oh.
See, you never know. But he just happened to get 2 people who are Ruby. But we didn't know they were going to be Ruby when we got them. But so you never know. Next week, you could get somebody who shoots to Emerald. You just don't know what is around the corner from your business, for your business. And so it's a whole lot easier to go faster when you have people under you working, for sure. So look for people who are as good as you or better. And I don't mean good in a judging way, but just people who have got it together and they're successful already. And they get it, because you'll build a lot faster that way.
I think that's something about your business too, Charlotte. You have a lot of quality people who have a lot of character. And
you know what?
That's the difference.
And a lot of those people were not ready to do much with the business 3 years ago. But I have somebody who ranked up to gold last month who hardly did any of the business for like 2 years. But she kept working on herself. And so now she is on fire. And so you have hidden jewels on your team, probably. It just hasn't quite been their time yet. But anyway, you just never know. So, okay, I'm going to let you guys go. Sorry we went so long. I meant to do half an hour. My phone keeps going off, so who knows who's trying to who's trying to text me.
Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. I hope this helped. I really don't want to be a talking head, but I have so much to want to say. So, okay.
It was good. It was very good.
Okay.
Very good.
All right. Well, you all have a wonderful day and have a wonderful end of August. Plexus miracles happen in the second half of the month.
They do.
They do. So believe that. So, okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Uh-huh.